Now, this nation has survived many trials from the great wars of the last century to September 11th, but the documentary Generation Zero suggests that some of our most daunting challenges may lie ahead. Take a look.
We in my generation bear an absolute responsibility for squandering that wealth and for what we have done to future generations. My generation owes it to the moment in history in which we live and to those succeeding generations to try to right what we have absolutely failed in over the course of the past 40 years. It's a great burden. Unfortunately, we're not the ones who will carry that burden, but future generations of Americans certainly will.
Thomas Paine, back in the American Revolution, said these are the times that try men's souls. And certainly Abraham Lincoln and FDR during the Civil War and the Great Depression, they had similar expressions about how we need to soldier on. We needed to continue to do the right thing. We needed to reach down within ourselves for resourcefulness, for fortitude. And these are times that will be remembered by future generations.
No one should underestimate where we are today. We're either going to be a secular, socialist, European-style, government-dominated country with slow economic growth and dramatically more power in our politicians, or we're going to fundamentally shift to basic American values, the work ethic, entrepreneurship, decentralization, local government, volunteerism, all the things that have for 400 years made us so dramatically different than Europe and so much more productive than anybody else on the planet.
It becomes a time of testing, of adversity, and it becomes a time, too, when the best qualities of every generation comes to the surface and becomes very important in steering history in a good direction. Each season has a vital function. America, usually during fourth turnings, they solve huge problems, but more importantly, fourth turnings are necessary for the evolution of civilization. There has to be a period when we get rid of what's old, particularly what's old institutionally. We make the ground fresh again for the young.
The question of what that new order will be is up to us and to the younger generations, and it always will be.
And we are back now with the producers of that film, Dave Bossie and Steve Bannon. This is our last block. And we were just talking in the break about what it would really take to get America's fiscal house in order. It would take some dramatic changes. It would take a change in attitude, change in the culture. You think it can happen?
It has to happen. For us to continue as this great nation, it has to happen. I believe it will happen. It takes politicians with courage. It takes politicians with conviction. I believe that there are men and women out there that can do it. Barack Obama is simply trying to be all things to all people, and I think he's trying to spend and inflate his way out of this problem, and it's going to be end in disaster.
Look, I was right about Obama from the beginning. Rigid ideologue, no sense of a sense of tone deafness I've never seen in any politician. But the same question to you. Will the American people accept that the gravy train is over, and will the politicians have the political courage to say, sorry, no more?
Sean, it's time to find out. I mean, I think that's one of the great things about the Tea Party movement. If you think back of how...
You're a real Tea Party supporter. I am too, by the way. They inspire me.
You know why?
Absolutely.
It's the voice of the working man and woman in this country. It's the decent people who fight our wars, who run our civic organizations, who are the backbone of this country. It's the people, they have very kind of 1950s values of what they roll up their sleeves, and they're decent folks.
And they're not looking for handouts. They're just looking for the
exact opposite.
They just want to be heard.
Right.
Yeah. They want to say their piece, and they want to be heard and respected.
Look how they're being vilified right now. Look back at the Vietnam War, the way President Nixon was vilified. Look at how Ronald Reagan was vilified in the first part of his administration. Look how George Bush was vilified and demonized. I think we're going to go through a period where it's going to be, because there are no easy decisions, there's no popular decisions, and the American people, and that's why the Tea Party movement, I think, is so powerful, is going to have the back of a new generation of political leaders, and hopefully some of those come from baby boomers.
But I watched Gingrich up close during the Revolution, the contract with America and the demonization and the day-to-day. I watched very closely. I think the best thing George W. Bush did was kept this country safe, and he never wavered on the idea that we've got to be on the offense, which we weren't in the lead-up in the 1990s. I don't know. These problems seem worse to me I'm not.
Well, first of all, Barack Obama's taken us back to Bill Clinton era policies on the
No, he's taking us back to Carter on steroids.
That's frightening. But look, we can build, even though we have a calamity here and we have a problem here. We have built on the ashes before. After the Great Depression, after World War II, we can do it again. This country can do it. We are the greatest country in the world, and we can do it.
But we do have a time frame. We can't continue to put. I think the day of reckoning is coming, because I think so much of our debt's now owned by China and the Gulf Emirates and Russia, that the day of accounting is coming. And the further we go down this road without making these fundamental changes, the smaller the playing field, the fewer our options. We've always had a country that's had a lot of different alternatives, a lot of options. You're going to start to see that narrowed down, and so that's why I think these next few years are critically important.
I think it's got to start with, there's two models. The contract worked, Reagan worked, Reagan inspired people, he changed the world. Economically, he made the world a safer place. Those would be my two models.
Oh, look, I think, well, first of all, this film is a wake-up call. I think it will really inspire people if they watch it. Ronald Reagan was my inspiration, and that's what we tried to do here.
All right, guys, great film. I really enjoyed it and really appreciate it. And thanks for being with us.
Thanks.
And that is all the time we have left this evening. Now, for more information on the film or to purchase a DVD, just go to GenerationZeroMovie.com. As always, thank you for being with us for the special edition of Hannity.